All right, good morning. This is Ken Walker with $3 Bricks and Minifigs. I just went to the store and impulse buyed these Marvel sets. What I have is two of each. I prefer to, when I'm loading sets, to load multiples. Just makes sense, especially when you're creating new locations. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use these to assist in making a tutorial video on how to load things into your storage location. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to determine how you want to label your storage location. This location here is on this first row. All of this is alpha. All of this is Bravo. This third one is Charlie. And the fourth one is Delta. And each one of these cabinets that holds 64 drawers has a series number on it. This is Alpha 100 series. And then if you look down here, this is Alpha 200 and Alpha 300. Okay, the reason I chose to do that was just helps your mind focus when you're actually picking orders. You know exactly where to go. I don't have to, because I don't have to actually count drawers. Um, I slowly narrow it down. Okay, I know this is Alpha. I know it's 200 series, so it must be in here. And then I only have to sort through 64 drawers at that point. Um, as you notice on here, you'll see that I actually have barcodes on them. I'm going to do my first video is actually going to show you how to do barcodes, and we're going to use some software to do that. It's going to be fairly easy and straightforward. Okay, the other storage location that I have over here is my MB or Mike Bravo. That stands for mini bulk. So these are where I have large quantities of items in there, or they're bulky and they won't fit in the smaller drawers. All right. Okay. I will be back with you in just a second. I want to show you the barcode scanner and the label printer. Okay, over here on my desk, you can see my label printer. This is a Paul and No brand. There are other brands out there. I'm not particularly fixated on one particular brand, but this one works well for me. Paid about $120 for it. It is a thermal printer, which means that it does not use ink. Um, and you feed it, basically, you're going to feed it paper rolls, which will, I'll show you what the end product looks like, which will create your labels. Okay, next to it, you see a barcode scanner. And then on my monitor, I actually have two barcodes that I printed off. One of those says up and the other one says load. When we actually go to load items into the storage location, I'll show you how those are used. One other thing I want to show you, we get over here, I actually have some printed out labels that I will be having to install on drawers. I'll do that off camera. There's no need to show you that. It's just fairly simple. Um, yep, so there we have it. I will meet you back on the computer screen where I will actually show you how to set up your barcodes.
Okay, so if you notice up here on the computer, I've opened up a Google Docs. You can also do the same thing with Microsoft Office. It's just a matter of personal preference. But I realize that just about everybody has access to Google Docs. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start populating my drawer numbers. So I'm going to start out by Delta 101, and then I will meet you back as soon as I have all of these filled out. Okay, so stand by, and I'll come back and see you in a second. Okay, I'm back. I've taken the time to fill this out. One thing I want to point out is going forward, I have a bad habit of forgetting, and I end up having to refill these out. What you can do is you can actually save them. Like this column here would be Delta 101, this would be 201, and this would be 301. And then if you do actually have to add another row of drawers, all you have to do is you can actually just change the letters on there, and then your template's already built. So speaking of that, let me go ahead and save this as a template. Don't make fun of my typing. Drawer label. There we go. Good. So now the next time I go through and do this, I won't have to redo that. Okay, so the other thing is now that we have this information, we are going to need to translate this into actual labels. All right, in order to do that, I'm going to open up another tab here. Let me slide it over so you can follow along. So I found that the Avery Label company, they develop a whole bunch of different labels, and I found that they actually provide an easy way to do this. So I'm going to go onto their website. I'm already logged in. Okay, so if you go up here, I'm going to go to Avery Design and Print, and then I'm going to start my design. Now, the first time you do this, you may have to actually find your labels that you're using, and you can see that they're set up to do labels that you can do on a regular printer, so you don't necessarily need a an actual label printer. But I just found it to be a lot easier because I've had to do this before. I know the template number I'm looking for is 4130, and these are a roll label. The size is 1 by 2, and they are thermal labels. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select this template. Okay, so two items that we want on ours. We want to have a barcode, and we also want to have the text. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one here. And we're going to set it over here. We're going to put edit all because we want them all to be the same. Okay, number one, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and slide my text box over here and go ahead and clear that out. Sometimes it works where it automatically puts it in there, or I have to play with it. Now, over here on the left hand side, what we want to do is we want to import our data. So I'm going to hit the import. We'll start import merge. So I know I put the file in my Google Drive, and it's going to make me actually log in. All right, here we go. So this is the sheet, Google sheet that we developed earlier. Going to select it. It gives you an option here. You can select all of them, or you can select just a few of them. This is actually going to come in handy because later on I will actually have the 200 series and the 300 series on there. But for now, we're just going to do the 100 series, and I'm going to click next. So when I drag this in here, that's going to put all of those fields in there. And I'm going to hit finish. And as you can see right there, we now have Delta 101. If you look over here, this is a little bit concerning because it only goes, oh, it actually, even though it says 54 of, it actually, it looks like all of them are actually there. Okay. All right. Excuse me. The next step we're going to do is we're going to create a barcode. So we're going to go ahead and edit this barcode. Now, there's two different barcodes that are used a lot. The code 39 I found works fine for the drawers. If I was actually going to use any kind of writing or maybe a comment or a remark that I wanted to use, I would use code 128. But for our purposes, we're going to use code 39. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slide this guy over here. I don't need a check digit, and I don't want the text displayed below this. You see how this is written up, kind of like a SKU code. All right, now that that's populated, we're going to slide that bad boy over here, and let's expand it. And I know from experience that this font here works fine. It's just that it's going to be very small. So as they blow that sucker up, at least 12, maybe 14. It just depends on your needs, what works for you. It actually turned out to be an advantage that my fonts weren't exactly the same on my drawers because it helped when I was actually either uploading something or picking parts for an order. Okay, so this is it right there. That's all you need to do as far as building this thing. Now we're going to preview it, and I want to print all. And now it's going to give me a PDF to print with. You can either save or not. It doesn't really matter because it's a one-time deal. You're going to use it, and that's going to be the end of it. So as you can see here, this is a preview of what my labels are going to look like. It's pretty snazzy. All right, one of the quirks I found with my printer, so I won't really do a tutorial on exactly how to use this printer, but I will show you that mine has a quirk on there. So there's my label printer. I'm going to print all of them, and it's designed to fit printable area. Now I found that in order to get it to print right, I have to hit this button here. And then what I do is I actually print a couple of test pages first to make sure that everything's going to work. And I'm not plugged in, so that's gonna give me an error in just a second. Let me go back in here and start this again. I want to just walk you all the way up to the point of where you actually go and print. So to start out with, I will just select one, and that way I'm not burning up too many labels. Okay, here you have to change this portrait to landscape, and then your label will look like it does on the picture. Paper quality, I go in here and I will change this to paper roll, and then I will go to page setup. Okay, right up here, you have to make sure that you set this 1x2, and I'll leave the label with gaps. Um, the printer, when you're actually loading labels, is actually smart enough to read the label size. And then from here, it looks like we're good to go. Don't mess with this one right here. Just leave it alone. And I hit OK. And then from here, I would actually print it. If that first sheet turns out fine, then I will just simply change this up to go 2 through 64, or however many of them there is. And that will actually leave that first label intact, and it will also print the rest of the labels off. Okay, so that really is, in a nutshell, that's how easy it is to actually make a label. You can also change them up, and I want to go ahead and leave that site. You can also change them up and put in stuff like your Mike Bravo 01, um, whatever your needs are on that. I would just say though, you don't want to make it too long because you need to leave room on the label for the whole barcode to be shown on there. And then one last final note on barcodes. The way the computer takes a barcode scanner is it basically treats it like a keyboard. You can actually even program codes in there. Like for one example, my default setting on my barcode scanner, it actually not only does it scan the drawer number or whatever, but it also hits enter, so it also enters that quantity into whatever software I'm using. And just to show you, so you can check to see if your barcode scanner is working. Now I'll do this off camera, but one way you can verify if your barcode scanner is working is to simply scan a label, open up a spreadsheet or something, and scan a label. And as you can see, it's working. Sometimes you have to play with the distance on it, but as you can see, it's actually working. Remember earlier I showed you the up and the load, so take a look at this. There you go. So this concludes this video on how to create your labels. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I will come back with you with another tutorial where we are going to take a look at Brickstore. Brickstore is a useful set of software, and we'll go through how to use it standalone, and then we'll also show you how I use it with an existing store.